keenly aware as we're driving to watch out for runners. We see a folding table in the middle of the street on the side with a big cooler on it and a stack of cups. It takes us a minute, maybe a couple seconds for it to register, but then we know, oh, it's a water stop. Imagine, if you will, a great grandstand, larger than the one for the Super Bowl or the Olympic Stadium. And this great stadium is filled to capacity with spectators come to witness a race that has violent consequences. And at the start of the race are you and I. All eyes are upon us as we begin crouching into our starting position. This is the picture that we get when we read these words from Hebrews chapter 12. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin that clings so closely, and let us run with perseverance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the perfecter and pioneer of our faith. The Christian faith is not a spectator sport. The Christian faith calls for participation, and with participation come challenges, struggles, difficulties, and fatigue. And like any athlete training for a race, there must be hard work and discipline, constant preparation and encouragement. There must be sacrifices, and we must persevere. Just like a successful athlete that strives towards the finish line, the Christian doesn't quit, but perseveres on towards the prize of glory. The call to follow Christ is a call to get out onto the track. It's a call to leave our comfortable seats and to stretch those tired and achy spiritual muscles and to take our place among the participants. And as we think about this text, the first thing we consider is the notion that we are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. And these are not witnesses that are there to watch and record our mistakes or our issues. These are witnesses placed all around us for encouragement, shouting positive words like, "You can do it, hang in there, keep the faith." Who are our witnesses? Well, to start with, the witnesses begin by the runners who are around us, running right alongside of us. But Paul reminds us that because of the resurrection of Jesus, the cloud of witnesses is also filled with those who have gone on before us. Not angels who don't know about living an earthly life, but all the people who are now with God. All those who know what it's like to stumble and fall under earth's struggles and difficulties. All those who have finished the race and now encourage us to persevere. The church, our community of faith here in this place, does not exist in a vacuum. We are part of an amazing tradition of Christianity reaching back more than 2,000 years and covering the globe. Our history of mission and ministry in this place is joined together with a sacred history revealed to us through the scriptures. Stories of men and women whose lives were transformed by God since the beginning of human existence. Why? Well, with the purpose of bringing God's kingdom here on earth as it is in heaven. Hebrews tells us, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely. Paul says to us that sin is not simply that which society says is naughty, or that which is obvious by the breaking of the Ten Commandments. Sin is what impedes us or separates us from becoming what God has created us to be. Think of sin as an obstacle to God's grace in our lives. The Greek word for sin here in this passage is hamartia, which is an archery term, which means to miss the mark. Sin is what causes us to miss the mark in any given situation. Think about your own life for a moment. Is there something that is holding you back from being the kind of person God has created you to be? Paul advises us that we must lay lifetime. Going the distance is a noble achievement. It takes hard work to continue on when times get rough. We doubt and we stress, and we get to what we consider to be our breaking point. But the problem is that we truly don't know our own breaking point. That's God's territory. Only God knows all the ways that we can persevere through any given situation. As I've said in my last few sermons on faith, the base foundation of our faith journey is determined by our relationship with God. Think about how much stronger we would be. Think of the inspiration of thought and ideas that we could possess if we could simply remember each moment of every day that we are not alone. When I find things to be difficult and overwhelming in my own life, I turn to Paul's book of Romans, specifically chapter 8. And to me, it's a chapter of encouragement. I won't read the whole chapter to you. You could go and do that as your Sunday homework this afternoon. Romans chapter 8. But I want to share with you verse 11. Paul writes, "If the spirit of him who raised Jesus from the dead dwells in you, he who raised Christ from the dead will give life to your mortal bodies also through his Spirit that dwells in you." Now this might be a little confusing, but it means exactly what we're talking about here. If the Spirit of God is in you to help you persevere, the possibilities are endless with God. A few verses later in that same chapter, Paul says, "If God is for us, who can be against us?" These are words from a man that does not fear the things of the world, but has embraced instead the power of Almighty God. Passages like this help us to keep things in perspective and help us to persevere. It's our faith and the body of Christ that surrounds us that helps us to press on, to go the distance. Isn't that one of the reasons that we gather to praise God together? Isn't that the reason every Sunday is considered a tiny Easter? A time to praise God together for resurrection and for new life? When we gather in community together, we're filled by the Spirit of God in our togetherness and in our unity. And when the race of life gets extremely hard, we need each other for encouragement and inspiration. You know, in marathon races or 5K races, some people competitively run seeking the best time possible, and they're running against themselves, while others walk at their own pace. All compete with the goal of crossing the finish line. Good races have water stops. And in the summer months, there are water stops every mile. Water stops are places to rehydrate. Runners practice how to make a quick stop without losing too much time, the same way that a race car driver practices a pit stop. And there's etiquette to the stop. A runner must look ahead to see if there is a water spot, that they should work their way safely and carefully to the side of the road where the water is. And a runner must be careful not to get into another runner's path. And those whose job it is to hand the runner the water must be alert and ready at all times. These hydration places are vital to the health and the success of the runners. Jesus told us through his interaction with the woman at the well that he is the living water. And he offered her living water. And you know what she said? "Sir, give me this water." Right? In our faith as disciples, Jesus is the living water. Have we asked to be filled? Have we asked for the water? Have we come to the water stop to be intentional about being spiritually filled by Jesus? If we do not stop and refill, we will be unable to persevere. We must stop and rehydrate. Refill ourselves with Jesus, the living water. Fill ourselves with the things of God so we can continue on with the strength we need to keep moving forward in the race of life. But there's one more important thing that we need to remember. Not Not only does Jesus offer us the living water, but Jesus has pioneered the way for us. He is our example, our model, our inspiration. We do not serve a God that is separated from us. We serve Jesus Christ, Emmanuel, God with us. God who became one of us so we could know He understands the human race that we run. Jesus who endured the cross, death, and resurrection for you and for me, Jesus is the definition of perseverance. We do not walk the faith journey alone. We are not walking an uncharted path. Our focus remains on Jesus, and the goal is the same: to love and share the gospel of Jesus Christ in our homes, in our communities, and in our world. We will all be reunited with Jesus and the saints of glory someday, and it's in the here and now that we are charged with the task of running the race, the same race that many have walked before. Many have sat in our pews and heard the gospel story. Many have served in love and grace right here in this community. Our society and lifestyle may have changed a bit, but as I said, our mission remains the same: to spread the gospel message of love and grace found in the salvation of Jesus Christ. To go and tell others there's a better way to run the race. We know that we can be triumphant and live a life of joy and purpose because of the resurrection of Jesus. Because the resurrection of Jesus is a life changer. The resurrection of Jesus Christ is where our power, our strength, our perseverance, our purpose, and our inspiration is found. Our text says that Jesus is the pioneer and perfecter of our faith. Paul reminds us to keep our eyes upon Jesus. That's the secret to finishing the race and winning the crown of glory. Keep your eye on the prize. It's our focus. It's about endurance. It's about being disciplined and steadfast. Our greatest challenge is to keep our eyes focused forward and not be distracted by the hate and the violence that surrounds us in our broken world. This is how we will persevere. This is how we will keep our eyes on the prize that is set before us. This is how we will love God and love one another and fight against the things of the world that distract us and take us away from what we know to be true and right. Our hope is to look to Jesus and run the race that is before us. Our challenge this week is to encourage others to persevere in faith. Following the ways of Jesus, we can live as disciples